for freedom across the wilderness. America, America, God mankind every flaw. Confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law. Oh, beautiful for heroes in liberating strife. Love more than self, their country love, and mercy more than life. America, America, from thy gold refined, till all success be nobleness, and everything divine. Oh, beautiful for patriot, that sees beyond the years. Like alabaster sins, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crowned thy living brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You may be seated and turn to number 532. God of our fathers, as they finish up here, you may be seated. God of our fathers, whose almighty leads forth in beauty all the starry band of shining worlds in splendor through the skies. Thy faithful song before thy throne arise. Thy love divine hath led us in the past. In this free land, by thee our lot is cast. Be thou ruler, guardian, guide and stay. Thy word our love, thy paths our chosen way. From yours alarms, from them we pass on. Be thy strong arm, forever sure defense. Thy true religion in our hearts increase. Thy bounteous good, their skirmish us in peace. Amen? Amen.
Good evening and welcome. This evening's play, The Hearts of the Father, is actually taken from Luke chapter 1, verse 17. I want to read verses 16 and 17 with it. It says, "And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Lord their God. And he shall go before them in the spirit and the power of Elias, to turn the hearts of the father to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord." It's a patriotic program. There's been a real emphasis on making America great, right?
Amen.
To make America truly great, people are going to have to turn to the Lord.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Because without that, it's going to just be empty.
Right.
And you're going to see in this play, it's taken from the book of Acts with poetic license, so you can understand that. But you're going to see there's Romans, there's Greeks, there's Jews, there's Christians. But the emphasis is, you know what? We need to turn young people to the Lord.
Amen.
And that's one reason we have a Christian school,
Amen.
because the Bible's been outlawed. Hopefully that's going to change. And so we are honored to present to you The Hearts of the Father by Robert A. Allen.
Mother! Mother! She has to be here somewhere.
Forget about telling her. Let's just go.
Mother! She won't mind. I just have to let her know.
If she won't mind, then why tell her? We're only going across the street to the marketplace.
I know, but
I never tell my mother where I'm going. It takes less time to answer her questions after I've done something than it does to satisfy her before I go.
you're probably right. Just let me see if she's in the kitchen.
Oh, hello, Eunice. Timothy's been looking for you. We wanted to go to the marketplace, but I told him he just had to let his mother know first.
Oh, thank you, Damien.
We can go. Grandmother said that she'd tell Mother. Oh, there you are. Damien and I are going to the market. We won't be long.
A mime troupe from Ephesus erected the stage in the forum.
You know I don't approve.
If we don't hurry, we'll miss them.
And my truth, they didn't tell me they were going to the playhouse.
He has his father's permission.
Bill would give him permission to join the troop.
I don't think Damien is the best influence on him either.
I'm sure he's not. Why, that boy can't open his mouth without lying. If he were my son.
It's not that easy, Mother. He's almost a man.
Almost a man, he's just a boy.
He would have been a man for 3 years already back in Judea.
Exactly. There, the boys become men early. Here, the men stay boys forever. Take your husband, for example.
Do you miss it so much? The old country?
Sometimes, when the evening sun turns the mountains to gold, I think it is the glory of the temple. If I forget thee, oh, Jerusalem.
Yes. It would be good to visit once again. Maybe if Philip takes another trip, we can convince him to take us all along.
How shall we sing this Lord's song in a strange land?
Have you seen Damien? He's supposed to be taking care of his little sister, Ion, and just now I found her alone in the garden digging my olive vines. I can't turn my back for 1 minute but that boy's into some mischief.
Damien was here. He and Timothy just left.
They've gone to see that wicked mime show at the forum.
The new mime troupe from Ephesus? I've been wanting to see them myself. Lucius says they're the best he's ever seen. And Vivius is with them, you know, and they're even using women in some of the scenes. Women. I don't think Lystra's ready for women on the stage, but it should be exciting.
Well, I never.
I'm sorry you missed them, Helen. They seem to be in quite a hurry.
That figures. He knew it planned him watching Ion. He thinks it's better to explain to me later why he did something than it is to get my permission before he does it. I just wish you were more like Timothy.
The very idea is downright indecent.
For Damien to be like Timothy, I realize he should probably be more truthful.
You know, Helen, she's still feeling about my trip. I wish Damien were more like Timothy. In fact, I wish your whole family would come to know the one who's made such a change in all of us.
Oh, no, you don't. I don't have time to discuss religion with you today. I was raised Greek and you were raised Jewish, and it's best for everyone involved if we die the same way we were born. That's what I think. Besides, what would Lucius think? Romans and Greeks mention Jewish. Philo has it.
I'm not asking you to change cultures, Helen. I'm asking you to meet a friend who can change your life.
A friend who can change my life. He'd have to be rich. I'd gladly exchange Lucius for a rich man. Maybe that's him now.
May I help you?
Is this home of the Phil, the cloth merchant?
Yes.
My name is Paul. I'm a tent maker. Moved here recently from Iconium, and I need some supplies. I was told that Phil could help.
I'm certain that he can, but you'll have to return later when he's here.
Oh, right. Thanks.
Wait a minute.
Mother, what are you doing?
Paul, did you say your name was?
Yes,
And tent maker?
that's right.
You're Jewish, aren't you?
What are you doing, Mother?
Don't bother me.
She's crazy.
It's all right. I don't mind. What else would you like to know?
Were you in Jerusalem 10 years ago about this time of the year?
As a matter of fact, yes, I was. Were you?
I'll be asking the questions around here, young man. Had you just returned from the trip from Damascus?
That's right.
And did you know a man named Barnabas?
Right again.
Welcome to Lystria. Oh, how I prayed that you'd come.
Mother, will you tell me what is going on here?
She's a lunatic. That's what it is.
Listen, this is not just Paul, the tent maker. This is former Saul of Tarsus, the man who killed my husband.
I think I'd better be leaving.
No, Helen, you mustn't leave. Saul is here to tell you how you can be ready to die.
He killed your husband. He wants to tell me how I can be ready to die. I'll see you later.
But that was before he went blind and had his sight restored.
That's wonderful, Lois. Tell me about it later, right? I have to go find mine.
Saul of Tarsus, are you really Saul of Tarsus?
I've been called up for a long time now. I've answered your name. It's Paul now.
Welcome to our home. I'm sorry, I haven't even introduced myself or offered you a seat. I'm Eunice, and this is my mother, Lois.
My husband was saved the day of the Pentecost. Oh, what a thrill it was to hear that the man who hauled him to prison was now preaching the faith.
I'm glad God gave to save sinners, for I was certainly the chief.
What brings you to Lystra?
I'm here to make tents, and I do need to purchase some supplies from your husband. But me and Barnabas have come for another reason as well.
Barnabas?
Yes, we have traveled for some time now, tell people about the Messiah, and gather into each assemblies in each town. We have come recently from Iconium for several months. Believers there now pray and have fellowship daily. Both Greeks and Jews are part of the assembly. And I'm not mistaken, your husband Philo
Is a Greek, but not a believer. Perhaps someday.
Christ is able. I thought perhaps this will be a place for us where we can meet. But if your husband would be offended,
Of course Philo would be offended. He lives in the accusative case. Most certainly the believers could meet here.
I don't know. I'd like to have them, but I know it would upset him.
I understand. I'm certain God will provide us a place for us to meet. In these situations, I agree with my friend Peter. He says, the behavior of the wife must win over her husband, even if her words cannot.
But we will join your assembly. Mother and I, and my son Timothy. I do so want him to meet you.
You have a son?
Yeah, a fine young man. He's out right now.
In the marketplace, watching the devil's practice. Women even.
Where is he? Stand back, everyone. I'll get him.
Philo! Lucius! What is going on?
Helen said there was a murderer in here.
She swore your lives were in danger.
From someone who already killed once and is ready to do it again.
Is this the man?
Stand back, woman. Let me at him.
Lucius, put your sword away! We're not in any danger!
What Helen said.
That's what have you started believing your wife.
This is Paul. He's a tent maker who wishes to purchase some cloth from you and was simply waiting until you returned.
Then what was Helen talking about?
Oh, he heard about the time 10 years ago when Paul took my husband.
Hush, mother! Paul, this is my husband, Philo.
I'm very pleased to meet your acquaintance, Philo. Become highly recommended in the city of Leicester.
A tent maker, huh? Sheath the sword, Lucius. He has nothing but a needle for defense. What can I do for you, tent maker?
I'll need some canvas. 50 yards.
50. I can manage, but I'll need a day.
Fine enough. I'll bring a cart by to pick it up tomorrow. It's good to have met you, Philo. Especially you, Lucius. Peace be with you.
Be sure to let us know when the assembly will be meeting.
I still think he looks like a killer. It's his squinty eyes.
There's a great deal of work to be done in the kitchen. Perhaps you can help me, mother?
He was a killer, but a legal killer, according to your Roman law and everything. He only killed non-citizens, so it was alright.
Grandmother, if I thought you were really dangerous, I'd have you locked up.
Mother, the kitchen!
Yes, what do you think?
Wait a second. It seems to me there's something I'm not being told about this Paul.
All right, I'll tell you. He's a Jew.
That figures. He's enough money to buy 50 yards of canvas.
About 10 years ago, just before we met in Jerusalem, Paul was employed by the Sanhedrin to investigate a new religion. These people were following the teachings of a rabbi they called the Christ.
That the fellow who got himself crucified? I talked to one of the centurions that was there from the colony. He saw the whole thing. So, what's he doing here? Still chasing down those Christians?
No, Paul met Christ on a trip up to Damascus and became a believer himself.
Met Christ! I thought you said he was crucified. A certified Roman documented crucifixion can't get any more attention than that. But his followers gave up the story of him coming back to life. Made quite a stir at the time. Had to bring in new leadership from Garcia So he started believing this rumor. They stole a body. That's what Lysander said.
No, Paul met Christ and it changed his life. He left the employ of the Sanhedrin and began working with the very people he'd been trying to kill.
But now he's back to tent making. He must have came to his senses. That fellow died almost 20 years ago. No one can believe that rumor, especially people in Lystra. What good would it do if they did believe? You're right, Lucius. No one in Lystra would believe this strike.
I thought you'd still be here, Lucius. You're just going to have to help me find Damien. I can't be found alone for even a minute in that garden. My poor olives.
Where's Damien off to this time?
He's in the marketplace with Timothy.
To see the new mime troupe from Ephesus. They knew I'd be needing his help. I just can't do a thing with that boy. Always telling lies. Did you find the murderer?
No! He already killed everyone in the house by the time we arrived! Oh, no! Dangerous man paired my sword with his tent-making needles. His ideas are probably more dangerous than his weapons. Just a scheme of foolishness.
But Lois said,
Mother, in the market,
A miracle!
that man, the one who always sits by the gate.
Healed, walking and jumping.
Who? What?
We were standing right there when it happened,
you were supposed to be at home.
He just told him to stand up.
and he did.
The man.
The cripple.
I needed you to watch Ion.
Who was it?
They told you, the cripple.
The one by the gates.
Who? What do you mean?
We don't know.
She's probably destroyed my olives by now.
You don't know. Was it a stranger?
There were two of them.
There were two cripples?
Two men.
When the crowd saw what had happened, they quit watching the actors.
They all flocked to the gate where the man had been sitting.
We went with them and saw him ourselves. You know how many times we've seen that man sitting there?
He wasn't sitting any longer.
The man really walked.
That's what we've been trying to tell you.
Some kind of trick. The mime troupe probably staged it. To draw attention away from their own stage? Not hardly.
Do you know what happens to a little girl who eats olive leaves?
Did the crowd seem to know that?
Not at first, but it didn't take them long to figure out who they were. They were gods.
Gods? They were gods!
That's what the crowd decided.
They called them Jupiter and Mercury.
That's because he was a real talker.
What are you talking about?
What did he look like? The good speaker.
Jupiter and Mercury. Who decided that?
The priest of Jupiter.
They decided to make a sacrifice to them.
Will you tell me what's going on?
To the men.
There
A
was
sacrifice.
With garlands and an ox, they were going to make a sacrifice in honor of the healing, but the men refused.
Was he a stooped man with a squint?
Not the blind man, mother, the cripple.
What did they tell the priest?
Well, first he called the worship of Jupiter and Mercury an empty religion.
That must have made all our Aristophanes happy.
They said they were just men, not gods.
then the shorter one, the one with the squints, that he had come to tell us about a living God, one who had made the entire universe.
They were Christians, mother.
Paul and Barnabas?
But the high priest still wanted to have a sacrifice anyway because of the miracle.
And because he didn't want to look foolish for having called them gods, I think.
Miracle? Gods? What are you talking about?
Quiet!
I want to know what's going on around here.
No, I want to know what's going on. Eunice, wasn't that the name of the tent maker that was just here? Paul? He hasn't been gone from this house for more than a half hour, and he already has the entire city in an uproar. Great. That's what we need. More religious trouble for the garrison to deal with.
He didn't cause any trouble. He healed a cripple.
They thought he healed the cripple, just like they thought they were gods. Do you think they are gods?
No, but
Listen to me. No one in this family has had anything to do with this Paul. He's a troublemaker. That goes for you too, Damien. Quit this gabbling around and help your mother. Take care of your little sister.
if it really was a miracle,
Quiet!
What is going on? Has something happened in the marketplace, Timothy? I couldn't understand a word anyone was saying. That's what happens when you go to devils. Nothing but trouble.
Timothy, stay here. How were the mimes?
All right, I guess.
I saw them in Ephesus. The funniest I ever saw. They used woman actors. Did they use women actors?
Yes, Father.
But I guess that can't compare to a cripple dancing a jig. Right, Timothy? Pretending to be healed. Must have been quite a sight, seeing him hobbling around without his crutches. He must have been a fast talker to convince himself to make a fool of himself.
He wasn't pretending, Lucius. You've seen that man sitting there for years, but today he wasn't sitting. He was jumping and walking.
Sure he was. Timothy, let me tell you something. There's a lot of charlatans in this world, and most of them are religious. And we can't always explain this nonsense. But mark it down. It's all fake. Right. I heard just like the story your mother was telling us about one of those religious kooks who took over an entire town. They made everybody bring out all their books into the forum, and they burned them all their books.
But Grandmother Lois said that hundreds of people saw him after the resurrection.
The power of suggestion, mass hypnotism, hallucinations. There you go. That's it. Your grandmother loses hallucinations all the time. We don't always know the real reason. But men just don't raise up from the dead and walk around again. It just doesn't happen.
Right, and men who have been crippled their whole lives don't just stand up and walk. But today I saw it happen.
Sure he was. I talked to one of the soldiers who was there. He said the body was stolen. That rabbi, whatever his name was.
Jesus?
Sure, that's the one.
He's dangerous. Timothy, he's a dangerous man, and I don't want you near them.
But if they're here to tell about Christ, this is my best opportunity to learn.
I said I don't want you near them. Understood?
Yes, Father.
You may go now. Does a father ever understand his son?
Ha! You tried figuring out my son.
We've got to do something about this. I won't stand by and watch my son get sucked into this new religion.
New? I thought you said yours was a Jew and he married her.
Ha! You Romans still classify these Christian followers as part of Judaism. But you'll soon change your mind. They have the zealot tamed by example.
So you don't think Timothy will stay away from Paul?
Not if his grandmother or mother have anything to say about it.
So let's keep Paul away from Timothy.
What do you suggest? Using your soldier friends to lock him up?
No, much simpler than that. We just spring the trap. He already sets himself in the marketplace just now.
The trap?
Do you know the priest of Jupiter?
Not really.
Well, it doesn't really matter, because you said for yourself, he probably wasn't very happy about the border sacrifice and all.
So, you're going to use the priest.
Right. Soon we'll get a hold of them. Him embarrassed, we'll have him punish Paul in some sort of way.
And we can tell Damien.
And he'll tell Timothy.
And he'll get the word to Paul. Perfect.
And faced with the prospect of losing his life, he'll either run away or quit preaching.
And Timothy will see him for the fake he really is.
Exactly.
Lucius, sometimes you surprise me.
Sometimes I surprise myself. Let's go find Aristobulus.
And Damien.
They've gone, but it won't do any good to talk to them, Mother.
At least I can try. You don't understand what an opportunity this is. To study with Paul himself. Who knows how long he'll be here when he'll be back.
You didn't like me going to see them, I'm sure, did you?
It's not that. It's just there must come a time when you grow up and quit seeking to be entertained, Timothy. There's so much more to life than dumb show.
Do you think Paul would teach me?
I think Paul would be excited about the opportunity to teach a talented young man like yourself.
And Father?
One of our prophets said that when Jesus returns, he'll turn the hearts of the fathers to their sons. We must pray that such will be the case here.
Timothy, you've got to come. There's going to be trouble.
Trouble? What kind of trouble, Damien?
Has something happened to I am?
No, Paul's going to be in trouble.
Where's your mother?
How do you know this, Timothy?
I can't say that is. I mean, you just have to come with me.
Paul's in trouble.
How do you know this?
I can't say.
What kind of trouble is Paul in?
I think he's going to be beaten to stone
What?
by the high priest because what they did this morning was such an embarrassment to them.
Healing the cripple?
No, I think he means the way Paul stopped the sacrifice feast. The priest was quite upset. But stoning? Where did you hear this, Damien?
You don't believe me? You think I made it up, don't you? You all just think I'm a liar. Well, then don't believe me then. Just go ahead and let them stone him.
Wait, Damien. I better go, Mother. If something is wrong, we need to warn Paul.
Where are they off to this?
To find Paul. Damien's convinced that the high priest of Jupiter is trying to bring him harm.
Did he call for it? Does he know Damien any better than that?
You mean he set it up?
Of course he did. Don't you know Damien to do anything else? He knows his imaginary friends better than he knows his own family. But he had help this time.
Helen, if Paul's in any actual danger, you must tell us.
He's not. But that's all I can tell you. I probably said too much already.
So why does Damien think he's in danger if he's not?
He probably heard a rumor in the marketplace.
But I thought he was in your garden watching Ione.
That's right. He was. You probably heard someone talking in the street outside my garden gate.
Of course, that's where the priest of Jupiter always goes to consult with his advisors.
So don't believe me.
Now, Helen, Lois is just concerned. But if Paul is in any actual danger, you must tell us.
There's no trouble. Philo and Lucius just wanted Timothy.
I should have known those two were behind this.
Wanted Timothy to what? What did they want Timothy to do, Helen?
Okay. It was Lucius's idea to have Timothy tell Paul that the priest of Jupiter was threatening to kill him. Then when Paul left town to save his life, Timothy would know what he's really like. But no one's in actual danger. Lucius is a soldier. He wouldn't put anyone in danger. Do you really think Damien might be in danger?
No, I'm sure Damien's fine.
Did you tell them?
I didn't say a word.
She told them everything.
It doesn't matter. They can't do anything about it now.
Perfect. Just perfect. Never seen a plan work better.
Paul should be well on his way to Derby by now.
Did you see Timothy?
Did we see Timothy?
Get this. Aristus and this huge crowd of people came to where Paul was standing, right?
And they were going to make a little sacrifice to them earlier.
They showed up to where Paul was standing, correct?
And they knocked on the door.
Yes?
I know you can't see this far, but I'm Aristus, the priest of Jupiter. We've come to take you to a little sacrifice.
A sacrifice? We don't want a sacrifice. Do you think if I was a god, I would squint like this?
Well, you don't understand. We're not going to sacrifice to you. We're going to sacrifice you. Sacrifice by stoning.
What's the hurry? I'm not pressed for time.
You will be when we get done with you.
And there was Timothy, standing right behind him in the doorway, getting a first-hand look at his brave charlatan.
And what will your son think of you when he discovers that you set it all up?
He'll thank him
Right, you'll thank me.
for devising a test of character.
A foolproof test. A test of character. Aristophanes and this huge crowd of people will take him outside the city and rough him up a bit.
And he probably won't stop running till he gets back to Tarsus.
Father, your sword, come quickly. They're killing him.
We know they're killing him. Stones, right?
Yes, they're stoning him.
It's priest of Jupiter, right?
Yes, and the Lyconians.
And they're mad at Paul for not allowing them to call him the priest of Mercury and make a sacrifice to him.
You've got to stop them. They're taking them outside the city to stone him.
They're stoning Timothy?
We know they're stoning.
Stick to that.
Stick to that, Damon. You're doing great. You've got every detail exactly right.
Is that what you told Timothy?
You don't believe me? I'm telling you the truth.
Of course we believe you. Stick to that.
I think he's telling the truth.
Look at that. You convinced another one.
Did Timothy tell Paul?
You've got to make them believe me. They're taking them outside the city. Timothy and Paul.
They're stoning Timothy!
No, Paul. The crowd kept going. The priest couldn't stop them. I don't think he wanted to stop them. They're tearing pieces off the wall to throw at him.
Damien, this is no time to be making up stories.
Upon the graves of my ancestors, I'm telling you the truth. You have to stop them, Father. They're killing him.
I've got to go to Timothy!
No! No one's going anywhere. He's just letting his imagination get the best of him.
Nothing new about that.
What if he's telling the truth, Philip? What if your big scheme has gone awry? Are you ready to answer for the death of an innocent man?
Won't anyone listen to me? They're killing him.
This is not the imagination of a child. This is fear.
I'm coming, Damien.
No, you're not. If it was really a crowd, you wouldn't be safe.
Safe! What about Timothy? Let me go! You knew this would happen! You planted it all along! You'd rather have your own son dead than to see him follow Christ?
We've got to stop. You don't understand. I've seen mobs in action before. What is good use of one sword against an angry crowd?
That's courage for you.
Lucius is right. If it was really a mob, and they wanted Paul dead, he'd be as sure as gone by now.
And that's what you wanted! You wanted him dead!
No, Eunice, you got to believe me. I only wanted to scare him, make him leave town.
And that's exactly what's happening. They're taking him outside the town. No, Father, they're killing him.
Timothy, are you alright?
See, I told you, and you didn't believe me. Now look at him, he's died.
They really did it.
He was telling the truth. Damien was telling the truth.
Paul could have avoided the whole thing. Thanks to Damien, I got there in time to warn him, but he insisted on going out and talking to the crowd.
Thank you. Please.
You'll be fine if you let me sit. If you sit there and let me take care of these bruises.
Phil, Lucius, David told us you said the warning. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Anything we do to help?
Lucius!
He tried to tell the crowd about Christ, but they wouldn't listen. Then when somebody suggested a stoning, they were like a bunch of animals.
There were always those that didn't listen. They didn't know what they were doing.
He most certainly did.
Oh, they knew they were throwing stones, but they didn't know they were fighting against God.
God. Did you hear that, Phil? He thinks he's a god.
Not all, Lucius. I'm a man, just like you, but I'm a man who is mad at God, and I'm bleeding has changed my whole life. I used to fight God with the power of the Roman government and the Jewish Sanhedrin behind me. But a man's arms are never long enough to do a battle with him. I met him 10 years ago when I was on my way to Damascus. There was no contest.
I've got to go check on Iris. She's probably into the eucalyptus this time. I'll never get the smell out of her clothes.
I've got to be going as well. I think one of the soldiers at the garrison wanted to see me today. Come along, Damien.
I'll be there soon, Father. But I'd like to stay and hear what Paul has to say.
Philip, you're going to allow this? Let that religious kook preach under your own roof to your family?
Not only am I going to let him preach to my family, I'm going to sit right there and listen to it. Because it's about time I start understanding my son.